What's going on? We back, Goodfella Sports TV, back with another episode of Retro Hoop Series. This is episode 2, and talking about how the Detroit Pistons made Michael Jordan into a champion, and how David Stern helped him amongst the way. To be honest, now, they couldn't get past the Pistons. I think it was an '88 year when he had a tremendous year. Like I said, I did a video yesterday. If you missed it, check it out. It was our and we got the playlist as well. NBA MVP, NBA Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star Game MVP. Slam Dunk Contest champion. The whole nine. Greatest individual year in probably sports history or NBA, definitely. We talking about individual award accomplishments. Okay, he got beat by the Pistons in 5 games, 4-1. Okay, the Pistons were very, very physical. I think it may have been the next year when Scottie Pippen, when they met in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think it was the next year, Scottie Pippen got a headache and couldn't continue because the Pistons were so physical. Ball was different back then. The ball in the 80s was physical, but 70s, it was crazy. Rudy Tomjanovich, I think in the 70s, got his nose busted open because one of the dudes, punched him in his nose. Can't remember the guy's name. But 80s ball, the physicality didn't drop from the 70s to the 80s, but you still had real fights. You didn't have these pillow fisted fights. You had real fights. On the court, it was real physical. It was no boys allowed. It was no layups allowed. It was a physical brand of basketball. Very, very physical, man. And Jordan paid the price every time he went to the rim. The Pistons would knock him down. They would foul him hard. It would be legitimately fights. Bill Cartwright, Isaiah Thomas. It was legit bad blood. Legit bad blood between the two teams, and Jordan just couldn't get over the hump versus them. They had took the reins over from the Celtics. Beat the Celtics. They became the premier team of the East, and Jordan couldn't beat them. You know what I'm saying? One year he went up crazy, and the Pistons came up with the Jordan rules, and they dominated him and won again. And people think it kind of naturally happened that Jordan beat the Detroit Pistons, which eventually it was going to happen. But David Stern, babied Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? David Stern was the worst commissioner the NBA ever had. He was one of the worst commissioners in all of sports with Roger Goodell and old boy from Major League Baseball. He right up there with them. He legitimately implemented, I think, technicals of flagrant fouls around that time. He started finding players for flagrant fouls and stuff of that nature. He took the physicality out of basketball. So he made it where you really couldn't touch Jordan no more, And Jordan would cry to David Stern to change some things around. They was trying to hurt him and put him in a wheelchair. He was going around crying, saying the Pistons was trying to end his career. So David Stern came in, was hands on like a back rub, and he implemented these flagrant fouls, these technical fouls, whatever it was, and he made it where you couldn't touch Jordan no more. And when you couldn't be physical with Jordan, you couldn't touch Jordan no more. That's when Michael Jordan became really invincible. Now, I said 88 was a hell of a year for Jordan. But, when he got to, 91-90 season, it was a wrap. He was Jesus and he was Jesus and Jordans, dog, and not Jesus and Nikes. And you couldn't touch him no more. They say, well, the Pistons wasn't old, or some people would say in Detroit the Pistons was old. No, they made it where you couldn't touch Jordan no more. When you couldn't touch Jordan no more, you couldn't hand check, you couldn't get physical with him, you couldn't hurt him at the line. You couldn't hurt him when he went to the free throw line. When he went to the basket, it was just like it was a wrap. You couldn't. This dude was so talented. That's what teams like the Knicks and the Pistons' advantage was the fact that they can get physical and they can bump him. And he said, back in 88 and 89, he wasn't physical. He wasn't strong enough physically. Him or Scotty. So they had to hit the weight room. You know what I'm saying? And when Scottie Pippen, I give him this credit, when Scottie Pippen got mentally stronger and physically got stronger just with Mike, and they started lifting weights, and on top of that, you couldn't touch him no more. It was a wrap. Nobody was gonna beat the Bulls. This was the first rule to start where it pushed the basketball more towards the wings. More towards the guards game and wing game. So this was like the first real rise of the league becoming a guards and wing game. Now, college basketball, when you get to the tournament, it had always been about guard play. NBA was more about big man play. That was the NBA game about. NBA game was about big man play. It was about the centers dominating the paint. That's why Hakeem and Sam Bowie went above Michael Jordan. And that's what it was about. But when David Stern, accommodated Michael Jordan, and he made it where you couldn't hand check no more, you couldn't touch Jordan no more, and he basically created superstar cause, that was the beginning of the end for physical basketball and good, clean basketball. He started superstar cause, and when Jordan got superstar cause with his natural talent and his new physical body, it was no way that anybody was going to beat Jordan again, unless he got old and had a bad series. But when people say, well, Iverson was a crybaby, Kobe was a crybaby, LeBron was a crybaby, when people say stuff of that nature, I just think about Jordan. I'm saying, man, people act like Jordan shit don't stink. Man, this dude was a crybaby. He was so much a crybaby that he said he wouldn't get on the Olympic Dream Team if they put Isaiah Thomas, and they blackballed Isaiah Thomas. A lot of them dudes didn't like Isaiah Thomas because the Pistons was the bad boys. The Pistons was the physical team. I remember, before I get talking about how the Pistons, made Jordan tough in the second half of the video, or towards the end of the video, I remember when Isaiah Thomas in 92, 91, 92 season, I can't remember what it was. I mean, he was cooking John Stockton. Whatever it was after the Dream. He didn't get on the Dream Team. He was embarrassing John Stockton, because when people say John Stockton was better than Zeke, I said, oh, they don't know shit. I mean, Zeke was just making Stockton his girl, man. And he was cooking Stockton, man. And, Karl Malone elbowed Zeke and bust his head open because he was embarrassing John Stockton, because John Stockton didn't deserve to be on that team before Isaiah Thomas, and Isaiah Thomas showed him. You know what I'm saying? But, without Michael Jordan having to get over that Pistons hump, it wouldn't have made Jordan the player he is today. And he said it. That was a critical part of the maturation to becoming not only the best player in the league, which I think he was already proven to be in about 88, 89. It was a maturation to becoming a champion, because it wasn't that when he got over the finals hump, like LeBron, he finally got his first finals and he became Michael Jordan. No, when he got over the Pistons, that's just how treacherous the East was. He didn't have a cakewalk. He didn't have an Asian Celtics team. He didn't have a Pistons team without Ben Wallace. He didn't have a cakewalk. He had to really go through the fire. For years he had to battle. He battled Cleveland one year, got the first round. Then had to battle Detroit. Had to battle the Celtics in '86 before that, coming off a broken foot. He had to come back and battle the Pistons, a few years in a row. 87, 88, 89, 90 or something like that. He had to battle them dudes. Them dudes made him tough. And alongside with David Stern's help, they made that situation made Jordan battle ready for anything. If you can go to physically getting slammed on the floor, physically getting elbowed in the rib shot, and Jordan was fearless. Jordan didn't fear getting beat up like he was in jail going down the lane. And that's why you see Jordan banging on Elijah Wan, banging on Mutombo, banging on all these different dudes, man. That's why you see Jordan doing that, man. Sorry for that loud car, man. My neighbor car's so loud, bro. Yeah, man. That's why you see him going to the rim so hard. That's why you see Scotty banging on Patrick Ewing. That's why you see that. You know what I'm saying? Because they had to go through the Pistons. You couldn't go in the Knicks and the Pacers team. You couldn't go soft in the paint. You couldn't go soft in the paint. No layups allowed. No boys allowed. That was the real league. And the Pistons taught him a valuable lesson about physicality, man. You know what I'm saying? He taught him a valuable lesson how to go hard. It was no other test in Jordan's career that was tougher than him going through the bad boys. No other test for him and Scottie enough that was tougher. They got past them boys, man. It was no stopping Jordan, man. No stopping Jordan after that. Lakers, Trailblazers, Suns, Sonics, whoever you want to say it was, man. Gary Payton might have been the toughest one giving Jordan some D. Jazz, it was no stopping them boys after that. You know what I'm saying? And Detroit made Jordan. They made him a champion, bro. When he got past us, he was a champion. Regardless if he had went to the finals yet, because he was going to cook the Lakers. He's going to cook the Trailblazers. Regardless. That was, and David Stern had a helping hand on that and that. They won't tell you that. You look at the league, you say it's soft. Well, he got the ball rolling when it was soft. He got the ball rolling for superstar calls. He got the ball rolling for technicals and flagrants and taking the tough fouls out of the sport of basketball. Basketball was a savage sport. It was savagery. In the 70s, I mean, it was real fights. In the 80s, you still had real fights. It was still tough. Man, them boys was physical. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you would be scared to go down the lane. Dudes would rather settle for a jumper. It was tough, man. And, you know, Jordan played through that, man. Jordan played with a certain toughness. He went to the rack hard. You know what I'm saying? And that's true story, man. David Stern legitimately gave him a boost. I ain't gonna lie. He had to handicap the Pistons for the Pistons to lose to Jordan, but eventually Jordan would have beat them. They were getting older. They had made four or five deep playoff runs in a row. And that's just the fact of the matter it is, man. He was gonna beat them regardless, but David Stern had to give a helping hand. You know? And that's just the business, man. But appreciate everybody for listening. Let me know what you think about the Retro Hoop series. This is episode 2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget, we on Facebook, and you can email me if you got any questions or you got an inquire about something, or you got a video request. If you want to make a donation, that link's in the description as well. Shout out to everybody that do donate. Shout out to Mr. Gary Benson and Mr. White for donating this week. I definitely appreciate it. And everybody else that held us down like, whoa. But y'all know what it is. One time for the one time. Hopefully you guys enjoying these Retro Hoop series, man. We're going to keep them rolling from periodically from time to time. So be on the lookout. We gone.